You may be asking yourself, why should I spend $3,000 to accessorize your brand new EFLX? Well, that's a great question, and it's got a very simple answer. Because these guns are awesome. Let's talk about why. Yep. For those of you wondering, this is the Staccato P. It's a 5-inch barreled, double stack 1911. And you can obviously see that here. If you hold it up, you can clearly see that that is 5 inches. This is the Staccato C, so that is a 4.5-inch gun, sort of you're in the middle. And this is the CS, and that is the 4-inch gun. And honestly, some say that's all you need, maybe even too much. So really up to you what you prefer and what size you'd like to purchase. These are the guns before you. All right, so 1911s, Staccato specifically, other than the obvious 2 World War champ back-to-back joke, which I will refrain from making, why 1911s and why specifically a double-stacked 9mm 1911? And why would you put an EFLX on top of it? Well, obviously, you're only ever going to buy EOTECH products because you are a classy person and you're discerning and you value your safety and security, and therefore you're only going to buy the best. And we salute you for that. But since we've covered that obvious sort of topic, let's move on to why you're actually going to run a red dot on a 1911, pros and cons, good and bad ideas, and money. Let's start with money. It's a thing. You may have some of it or less of it. If you don't have much of it, you're probably not going to buy a Staccato. I understand that. You're going to buy a $300 polymer framed 9mm pistol. Of course, you're going to put an EOTECH on it, and you'll probably be just fine. You go to the range sometimes, you'll shoot it, you'll have a certain degree of proficiency, and hopefully if you're ever called upon to use that firearm in defense of yourself or others, you will succeed. However, if you like classy things, if you like shooting fast, accurately, and being awesome, and making all of your friends jealous and your wife mad, you may want to buy a Staccato. Now, let's talk about why. Well, the 1911 platform is arguably one of the most ergonomic handguns ever designed, and it has, without question, the finest handgun trigger you will ever touch. That is due to some unique and nerdy architecture and design works that I am not going to get into here, but if you are interested in that kind of information, you have the internet at your disposal and you made it this far, so I'll assume you know how to go look up that information because it is actually pretty interesting and worth knowing. But let's talk about specifically double stack 9mm handguns, 1911s, and what they do for you. Well, first off, like I said, they're extremely ergonomic, regardless of if you're going with something small here like this, carry gun size, roughly Glock 19-ish sized gun, or you're going up to a full size or even larger sort of competition comped gun. 1911s are fantastic. They got amazing triggers. They have a wonderful grip angle that just tends to work very well with the human anatomy. They point naturally and they can shoot stupid fast. They also, despite the weight and heft of this sort of hybrid polymer and steel framed gun, are not all that heavy, and the weight that goes over your hand and travels to the rear during the cycle of operations is not as bad under recoil as you might think it would be. In fact, this is really flat shooting. They're also inherently very accurate. Now, obviously, quality and precision in manufacturing comes into play here, but that is why we're talking about Staccato, because they are some of the finest production guns on the market, bar none. Now, again, when you get into 1911s, there is a ton of information and a ton of opinions out there, but there are a couple of engineering points that we can look at specifically that you can use to gauge the quality of a 1911 in general. Some of it is going to have to do with how the barrel index is up front, how all that's put together, the barrel itself, how much barrel bounce or movement there is in the barrel when you push on it. For instance, with Staccato, there is literally none. Also, you'll be on the internet and you'll read about people talking about how it feels like the slide is on glass or on rails or ball bearings, some interesting way of describing the fact that this thing is incredibly smooth. And it really is. And all that comes into play when you're talking about precision milling, precision engineering, and accuracy with a handgun. Now, accuracy with a handgun may be a foreign concept to you because you're like, hey, we're shooting at like 3 feet. Who cares? But honestly, you can shoot these guns way farther than that. In fact, you can be accurate well beyond 100 yards. I know this can be a bombastic statement on the internet, but if you are a skilled shooter and you're shooting good ammunition, you have a high quality handgun, you can make hits at distances that would amaze you otherwise. But if you're your average consumer with a little bit of expendable income and you really want quality stuff, you want to invest in yourself, well, the 1911 platform, and specifically double stack 9mm 1911s, is something you may want to consider. Now, let's talk about why that is the case. Well, 1911s came out, 45 ACP, big chunky cartridge, subsonic. Bullet technology has evolved a lot. 9mm is an extremely effective personal defense round. And with the advent of the double stack magazine for 9mm, while they are not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, they hold a good number of rounds depending on the size of handgun, somewhere between 15, 17, you can get extended base plates, 20 plus rounds. And they, again, like I said, are going to shoot really, really well. So you're looking at, for instance, with this gun here, a 15+1 capacity. It is absolutely smaller than a Glock 19. It is roughly the same weight, and it is going to shoot way flatter, way faster, and be much more accurate than your standard Glock. Now, can you do great work with a Glock? Of course you can. Can you do better work with this? Yes, you absolutely can. Will this make you a better shooter? No, but can you shoot this probably better than the Glock you've been carrying for years? Yeah, probably. Now, there's a manual of arms issue here. This has an external safety. During the draw stroke of your handgun, you are going to want to make sure that you depress that thumb safety. If you do not, gun does not go bang. And that's a problem when you really need it to. But assuming you do understand how this gun actually functions and you train with it, this is really great. One of the things that I love about this, and again, I know on the internet they're going to tell me I'm wrong, but I can drive down on that safety the entire time I'm shooting. So whether I'm shooting one-handed or two, I have another point of contact where I'm actually putting downward pressure on the gun, and that's super cool. You can't get that on a polymer framed striker fire gun unless you add some sort of nubbin or accessory, which can really make holster selection a pain. Also, with Staccatos, you do have the nice accessory rail here, so if you want to run a light or something like that, which I would encourage if you're going to carry the gun, you can certainly do that. And again, the way these things are designed, the accuracy that they have, this is one of the only platforms that you can get into at a reasonable price, where you can sort of cross that divide between duty levels of dependability, reliability, and accuracy, and that competition space. So if you want to be competitive in well, competitive shooting, you're going to need a certain level or class of firearm, because people out there are not playing these days, even though it is a game. And these guns do not play. You can absolutely carry them, you can stake your life on them, you can depend on them, and you can go shoot competition with them really, really well. Obviously, certain classes and all the details do apply, so do your research there. But they come in a variety of different models, and they look really good with a red dot on top, right? I mean, I'm just saying, it looks pretty good, right? So, all the normal accessories you can put on this thing, like I said, lights, mag wells, all the good stuff. You can comp it. Again, depending on who you're going to believe on the internet, you can actually shoot these things suppressed too nowadays because of amazing engineering and super smart people building these guns. So that is sort of a compressed view of what the 1911 brings to the market and to you, the consumer. Improved ergonomics, improved trigger pull, and a super reliable gun. Also now we have much higher magazine capacity, a modern, really, really good performing round in the 9mm cartridge, and now they're accessorizable. Pretty sure I just made that word up, but we're gonna go with it, with red dots, lights, mag wells, all the good stuff. So guys, if you have a little bit of extra cash and you're looking for a super duper nice handgun to put the EFLX that we all know you have already purchased on a gun, check out the Staccatos. They're fantastic. And they're just a good company. We love working with them. They uphold all those American values we're all about. So we love repping them. We love showing off their stuff. And again, the guns work great. Asterisks. Staccato did send us these handguns for free. Now, I stand by everything I said. I love these guns. But obviously, we always want you guys to know we did not actually pay for these, because on the table in front of me is more than I paid for the first 5 cars that I owned. They're not the cheapest guns out there, but they are worth every penny. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do have any comments, questions, anything like that, please put them down in the comments below. Get in there, do all the social media things. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Train hard, live free. See you next time.